Hello everybody, we're back with Alicia Online, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the game, more on specific things. I think today I'm just going to show you guys breeding, like the basics on breeding, everything you know about breeding in the game. So we're going to get right into it. This is where you'll go at the bottom here for your breeding. It'll say breeding, you just click on it, brings you here. Up here you can see your horses, and then down here is everybody else's horses. There's 526 pages currently of horses right now that you can breed with, and that's only for grade 8. So when you first start playing the game, you're probably not going to be able to breed or get grade 8 horses right away, so you can actually go down, well, grade 4, I think that's really the lowest there is in this. So from there you want to just try and get the highest grades possible as you continue through the game. You always want grade 8 because, like I said, the highest grade you can get is grade 8 when breeding. I said that in the last video. There's a lot that goes into breeding, so I might go back and forth and run over topics multiple times if I forget what I've already talked about, so bear with me. It's been a long time since I've played this game like in depth and really went into the breeding myself, so this is kind of a good refresh for me, and that's a big plus because then it'll help me out more. So as we go, you got horse names here. This is the breeding list. You got horse names, you got lineage. So these are the coats that the horse will have. They all have different names, obviously. You got black, bay, bay pinto, gray, technically. It's not even white, it's gray. Overo, all sorts of fun stuff. And then right here next to the lineage is what's the important part, is the numbers. So I said this a little bit in my last video, but the number next to the coat is the number of that same coat that's in the lineage. So there's 9 of the same coat in this horse's lineage, which is really good, honestly, if you're trying to reproduce that same coat, because a lot of the time it's good for breeding. Like, say you want to reproduce this rare coat, if you can get this coat every single time you make a baby, like, that's really good odds, and then you'll make really good money off that horse. So you kind of want that most of the time, but maybe you're trying to get a different coat like I am. Like, I've been trying to get this Mealy Bay coat, right? So I don't really want a horse from my side that has a big lineage. You don't want this one. You don't want +7 chestnut in your lineage, because then you're more likely going to get a chestnut baby, but you really want this kind of baby. You want the Mealy Bay. So you're going to go always for the highest lineage possible when you're trying to get a coat that you don't have. So if you want this coat, you want to make sure you're getting a 9+, or at least a 6+, like 5 or 6+ for breeding, and then you're going to be more likely to get this coat. Now, as I said again in my last video, there are rarities to these coats. So you got the 1 stars, the 2 stars, and the 3 stars. The 1 stars are really easy to get. They're more common. They will always show up more, and so on and so forth. That's why the 3-star coats are so hard to get and acquire. Even when you have them for yourself, you're not... I mean, you probably won't always get it unless your lineage is +9, like mine here for the black horse. Let's test it right now, because I haven't done this in so long. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a black baby, though, if I do a +9 lineage, and I also do +9 on my end. Since we're just doing it purely for test reasons, I'm just going to pick the cheapest one. 15K is actually super cheap for a black lineage horse. I don't know why it's so cheap. Someone was feeling generous. And we're just going to test it. I don't really care about the stats. Either way, it's fine. Because if I get a black horse, it'll probably make me money either way, because people are always breeding with black horses. And if my stats are lower, I can just make it a lower price. And as you see, even though I picked a +9 and a +9 lineage on both ends, I did not get a black horse, because they are rare to get. And that's just how it is in this game. The RNG just won't give it to you. I've noticed in this game, though, that they really need to upgrade the breeding system itself, because the breeding system in this game is old, and the RNG sucks on it. So, like I said, even if you have a +9 black horse and a +9 black horse you're breeding together, you're probably not going to get a black horse on the first try, or it might take you a couple tries. And that's kind of ridiculous, because, like, what's the point of having a lineage then, right? But it does increase your odds, obviously, more than it would if you had a +1 lineage or something. So it's still important, but I think this game just needs a breeding update, to be honest. So the next thing we're going to look at is genetics. So the genetic here, you got all these arrows. It's kind of confusing, but kind of not. I mean, if you play games, it's more of a common sense thing here. So as you see, we're going to do... we'll switch it up and do chestnut, and we'll go back to the melee, because that's what I want to try and get, right? So now instead of seeing all the down blue arrows, I'm getting green arrows that are straight across. So that again increases my odds for getting this coat. The green arrows are just showing your genetic percentage of compatibility, if that makes sense. So my chestnut horse is only semi-compatible with these melee bay horses to then generate a melee bay coat. So it's not the best odds, basically, is what I'm saying. You want to try and get arrows that are pointing upward, which I might not even be able to get with the coats that I have. It doesn't seem like I will be able to, so let me try and find a better one. We're gonna just go up here and do like a buckskin, an Appaloosa, and a dapple gray. There we go. Okay, so with my black roan horse, surprisingly, these are all good. They are very high genetic chances that I'm going to get a black Appaloosa mixed with my black roan. Probably just because they have similar genetics. That's probably why that is. I'm not really sure why the buckskin is an increased one, but it must be that the black roan maybe is more dominant than, what is this coat again that I picked? I was saying the buckskin. Like, what? So yeah, my coat is probably less dominant, my bad, less dominant than the buckskin, and that's why the buckskin has a higher chance to come out with the genetics. And that's just really what the arrows mean. If the arrows are pointing up, it means you have a higher chance of getting this coat when you're breeding for genetic wise. And then if it's green, it's neutral amount. And then if it's blue, let me see if I can get a blue one to show up here. I guess not. Darn it. Okay, I gotta go back to black. Just to show you guys again. Oh, jeez. Okay, there we go. See, then there's a blue arrow, so that means you're going to have a really low chance of getting this coat on another horse. And that's really also a lot to do with the stars. You know what I mean? Like, if I pick a chestnut, as you see, it's super increased because chestnut is the most basic coat in the game. That's literally the basic coat in the game. So you're almost all the time going to get this coat if you want it because it's so generic in this game and it's not rare. So that'll also give you a red completely up arrow, because that means you're definitely probably going to get that through breeding. So that's what that means there. Sorry it took me so long. Like I said, this game is definitely different mechanical wise from other games, and they make it more complicated, so there's a lot to talk about and a lot to say. So that's the genetics, that's the lineage. They all tie in together, honestly, for your chances of what you're going to get. And like I said, it's all about the 3-star thing. They're just harder to get in general. It's going to be most likely harder for you. And if you get lucky one day and get one, you know, good for you. You can get lucky and get one when you weren't expecting it. I have gotten black horses before when I was least expecting it, especially my Overos as well. I think that's what it is. Yeah, black frame Overo. I've gotten those randomly throughout breeding, and I was like, oh, I can't believe I got that. So it happens.
One eternity later.
We're gonna move on to fee. So the fees in this vary depending on how good your stats are, and how rare the coat is, how many hearts you have available for your horse to breed with. There's all sorts of factors, but usually the more pricey ones you can always here, let me get rid of this. The more pricey coats can always be priced higher just because it's a pricey coat. That's really it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So as you see, these coats are all priced, well, except the 10k. Someone was being nice there with the 10k. I'm not sure why. And they even have full hearts. Some people are just nice. You're gonna run into that. Maybe they're rich and they don't really need that much money. But sometimes if you really need the money, you can definitely afford to price them at 40,000, 20,000, 16,000, even 30,000. Like anything above 15k is usually a really good price for 3-star horses. And like I said, people have gotten generous and they can lower them if they want to. But when you get specifically like the black coat and maybe the blue roan, it automatically gets pricier. Again, they were really nice with the blue roan. That's kind of funny because before they were really pricey. But as you can tell, all the black coats are extremely expensive. Until you get back here when the hearts are a little lower. But like, still, somebody probably put this at 10k in the beginning when the heart was full more. That's just them being nice, I guess. I mean, when you get enough horses like I have and I can just breed them left and right all the time, I probably would price them lower because I am also pretty rich right now. But as you guys saw, even with the black horse mixed with a black horse with +9 lineage, I still did not get a black horse, so that's why these are so expensive. They're really hard to get. And then this game, again, is very weird with its pregnancy chances. I just don't understand this mechanic. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like I said, the breeding system, the whole thing as a whole, needs an update. But if you go over here to pregnancy chance, it even says, if the difference in the grade between two parent horses is too large, the chance of the pregnancy is lowered. Because like I said, grade 8 is the highest you can get, and if you're mixing two different grades, that is true, it will be lowered. I like that they tell you that, because I would have forgot all about that, honestly. If we go over genetic, it even says genetics is the probability of a foal with the same appearance as the father. The higher the pregnancy chance, the higher the genetic chance. So you always want, and I was going to get into that with the hearts anyways, but they explained it for me. These horses that you're breeding with are always the fathers, and our horses are always the females. That's just how the game made it. I'm not sure why. Like, you won't actually see a gender symbol next to your horse. It's just, that's what the game is. It even says, like, appearance with the father, because these are always the father in this. I'm not sure why. And then again, pregnancy chance. Okay, so in this game, like I said, super weird. The hearts are never full. They will never be full hearts. I don't know why, but even if you get a fresh horse, like a baby, and it's full grown, and you want to go breed it, this is the highest its hearts are going to be at. It's going to look like it was already bred, but it hasn't been. For some reason, the highest breeding chances in this, like pregnancy chance, is always going to be 3.5 hearts. Or like 3.25 hearts. I need to get out of the black to give you guys a better example, because nobody really breeds with the bays anymore. Yeah, it's still 3.25, which is very weird, but that's just how it is in this game. So if your horse has the max pregnancy it possibly can have, as you guys saw, the genetic will be increased by that if you have a higher genetic. So that's why it's also hard to breed with horses you've had for a long time, because usually if you've had horses, they've already been bred, because you're gonna put your horse up to be bred to for money. You get your horse back, obviously. It just goes up for a while for people to breed to it, and then you get it back, and then that'll lower its pregnancy for quite a while. I think the game said that the hearts go up over time. I can check right now. Let's register. See, like, I can't register these. I can't remember what it was. Maybe they don't go up. There's something you can do, I think, to increase the hearts again, but it's, like I said, it's been so long since I played. I will get into that and show you guys that in the future when I research more on it. But if you go down here and I hit register on this horse, it has its hearts back, because I've already bred that one in the past, I'm pretty sure. Oh wait, or have I? Yeah, I always breed my horses when I get them. Yeah, I just bred this one the other... Oh, okay. I just bred this one the other day, and as you can see, its hearts are lower by a whole heart. Because usually you get 3.25 hearts, and he only had... Or she only had 2.5 hearts. So I did breed that one a while ago. I guess I never bred this one, and that's why it's still full hearts. So because this horse doesn't have the best stats, and it's only a buckskin, I'm going to keep it at 10k. And then the registration fee you do have to pay, it's 5k. And this right here tells you minimum price is 10, maximum price is 40, because my horse is grade 8. So every grade 8 horse has a minimum of 10k carats that you can put it up for, and the maximum is 40, but it's always going to be 40. You can never go higher than that. And we're just going to throw it up. It always goes up for 1 day, unless you want to take it down sooner. That's up to you, but you're missing out on money, because you never know, someone could breed with it last minute. And what is this? The number of available breedings is affected by the horse's grade. I wonder why it says 1. Maybe it just means 1 session. I never really paid attention to that, honestly. So we're just going to throw her up. And then it'll always have a symbol next to it showing that they are up for registration for people to breed with. And then I need to check. Registered horses must be... Oh, that's why. That's what it was. Okay. I just need to read, I guess, and I'll remember. So you can only breed horses that are at grade 8 or lower. So once they become above grade 8 and you start racing with them and leveling them up, then you can no longer breed them. I knew it was something. I couldn't remember. But you do have to wait over time for the horse's hearts to be regenerated, even if they are grade 8. Like, that will take a while to go back up, I'm pretty sure. I usually get rid of them and just use them for breeding anyways. These are all my permanents because I can't register them. They're all leveled up. She's only permanent until I get a new one, though. Her stats aren't the best. They could be better. Definitely better. And we'll get into that in another video when I talk about stats and all that and leveling up. So, back to time left. This will tell everybody how much time they have left to breed with these horses. I love that they all say 1 day, because that's definitely not true. There's no way everybody put their horses up at the same time I did, you know what I mean? It'll always say 1 day, but it's not actually 1 day. Yeah, they're all saying 1 day. That's funny. So I guess don't even worry about the time. It's never going to be accurate. It's generally, you know, at some point. So if you see hearts like this, because we're on page 30, we're really far in, and there's only 2.5 hearts left here. That means that this horse has been bred quite a few times by other people in the game. And when it says 1 day, obviously that's not true. If it's been bred this much already, you can kind of estimate how much time it has left. It might be up for a couple hours or a few hours, you know, things like that. So that's one way to gauge it if you guys are curious on how much time you have left. And then over here is your favorite spot. You can actually favorite a horse. So say you're playing your game and you're trying to earn some money to be able to breed with this horse that you really want to specifically breed with that one. We'll just use these horses for examples to refresh the pages. So we can just click on this. Oh, whatever, I like this one. We're going to favorite it and hit add to favorites, right? So then we can go to favorites over here. And this one is a favorite that I've had liked for a long time now. And as you see, I cannot breed with it because I've reached the maximum number of horses in my slots right now. So we're just going to up and delete this one. Because it's not really good for breeding. I don't need, wait a second, what's this one? Oh, I should put that one up for breeding. Oh, it's got speed. Oh, I forgot I was working on that. This has been my horse since the dawn of time, since the beginning when I started playing. But as you see, it's a control horse, which is a magic horse, and I don't want that. I want speed horses. So I'm trying to work on a new horse, actually. And I'm debating if I'm going to get rid of her or not in the end. I'm not sure. We're going to delete this horse for now, though, and say goodbye. And then I wonder, okay, so I still can't breed with it because the register period has ended, and that's because this is literally from forever ago. They might not even, I mean, they must still have the horse if it's showing up, but clearly it's been there a long time. So we can get rid of that one and remove. And then as you see here, this will stay here for as long as the horse is available to be bred with. So if I'm playing throughout the day and I need money and I want to, you know, make sure I can save this horse and remember it and not have to go find it later, I can just favorite it. I don't really ever use the favoriting list, almost never, because it'll only work for that day. Unless the person happens to bring that horse back out for breeding, they could do that. And then you could keep it in your favorites and breed with it another time. Like I kept that chestnut horse in there for probably years now. I forgot that was even there. But if they were to ever bring that horse back into breeding, I could actually breed with it and find it again because it would be in my favorites. So it kind of works out for your benefit if you're working to gain specific qualities in horses and you want to save that horse. Go right ahead, you can do that. I usually don't. I don't really care. That's just me though. I've been playing forever. I don't really need it. And then the next thing we're going to get into more is the lineage. I'll just show you guys how it looks. So if you right click on the picture of your horse, like the coat of your horse, you can see your horse's lineage right here. And you can see what coats are in the lineage. So maybe you want to get a, you know, roan horse. You probably would want to use this horse because there's 4 roan coats in the genetics already. So that would help you increase your chances of getting that coat, as long as you also keep in mind, obviously, the arrow and the hearts. Because everything, it ties into that. And, of course, the number of coats that are in the father's genetics as well. So that's something you can look at, and if you right click on the horses down below, you can actually see yours and the horse down below at the same time, so you can compare. So let's say I want to try and get a chestnut, because I am still working on getting a better chestnut horse than the one I have. We can right click this +8 one, see what the other coat is, see what my coats are. There we go, I have to make sure I right click on mine. I can see my horse now, the chestnut one that I have, and then the chestnut one they have, and it seems like it's pretty good odds, honestly. And the +2 just means that the lineage connected from previous generations, and it adds it up to 2. They're just adding it there for you. Easy math. So I could do that, but not the stats I want. So the stat part is important when it comes to breathing when it comes to breeding, because it gets a little complicated, and this is the part where I'm not super sure or familiar anymore with that kind of stuff. So I think it's 178. I think it is. I think that is actually the max. Okay, so here's how I'm going to explain it. So when you breed a horse and you get a baby that's grade 8, you always want grade 8. The highest possible stats that it can receive is 178. I'm pretty sure, because I remember that number from the past. And it's hard to look at my other horses. They don't count because you gain points as you level up. But this is a horse that is level 0. I just got it recently. It's grade 8 from breeding, and you can usually tell if your horse has the max amount of stats available from breeding when you look at the stats itself. So as you see, it's got 56 speed and 56 strength. Usually when it has either an even of 2, you're gonna know that it has the max it needs, but you can see it right here. I'm pretty sure it's 178. You'll always see it right here. Like this horse down here, we just got the other day myself, but it only has 170 because it could actually gain 8 more points in this. It could have had a max of like 92 for speed, I'm pretty sure. And that's what you want to look for when breeding horses, when you're trying to get the highest possible speed from a baby. You want it to have the highest possible stat before you start leveling it up, because then you'll be able to fully fill out the bar. And that's a whole nother thing. Like I said, this game is so complicated. The mechanics are insane. It's so much to explain. So I'll get into that another day, but you just want to make sure that you're getting 178 points from each baby. When you start getting into grade 8 horses and you're trying to make really good horses, that's what you want. I wish I had a little bit of a better example, but this one is a pretty good example because it's only missing 8 points and the bar is pretty high. That's how you'll always know you have a grade 8 horse, when you're getting like 170 points and up, or at least 165 points and up. Maybe not. It depends on how many points, really. The grade 8 horses will always have a certain amount of points and up. And then if you have like a lower grade, which I don't have to show you, it'll have less points. Like total stat points, basically, is what I'm talking about. So to get more in depth with that, your horse will always have a total of 178 stat points in its stats when born. So as you see, it has 23 agility, 20 control, 56 speed, 56 strength, and then 23 spirit. So out of all those numbers added, it's 178, which is still good. You want the max you can get, but you want to try and get it in one stat, not multiple stats. You almost never want a horse with multiple stats, and that's just getting into stats. I don't want to get into that right now.
Are you kidding me?
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 So when you're breeding, basically what I'm saying is try and only breed for one specific stat. So, again, with my chestnut horse here, I've really just been wanting a high-speed chestnut horse. So right now, my horse's speed is 90, but it was not born with 90, so it's actually a really bad stat horse, because my horse is like level 20 already, which means I've put in like 20 points into speed. So it was originally born with like 70, you know what I mean? It was not good speed. But I want a speed horse, so I made sure I leveled up specifically only speed, put as much stat as I could into it, because the higher speed your horse has, the higher likelihood it is to get good speed when you're breeding with another horse. And that's when the breeding with stats comes into play, and that's why I was explaining stats to you guys a little bit. Because when you're breeding with horses, you can see our bar is pink, the father's bar is orange. So mare is pink, father's orange. And when you're going through this, you want to always make sure that the father has the highest speed stat, if that's what you're looking. You want the highest possible speed stat you can find, but you also want a good lineage and you want good hearts. You don't want to breed with a horse that has like 3 hearts, because you might not even get a baby. So that's why the heart thing, the pregnancy chance, is important, especially with genetics, because they're basically saying if you have less hearts with the father, you're not going to get a baby. And I'll prove this to you guys right now. Let's pick like the lowest. Oh good, this one even has, so look at that. Highest speed right now is 99. That's super high, especially for a grade 8 horse. So I guess the highest speed you can get is probably 99. I don't know, that seems crazy to me, but I believe it. It only has 2, not even a full 2 hearts to breed with. And it only has a 1 lineage, so it's not that good of a horse to breed with at at all. But I'm going to show this for you, show this to you specifically for game purposes. We are going to be extremely lucky if I get a baby out of this. I don't even think I will. See? No baby. And that's because when you're... and then of course it compromises you with a prize. You get to pick out of 3 cards. I got 7,800 coin and some gem. That was actually a really good card pick. The other ones are usually really bad, like, oh, here's a brush or here's a carrot. It'll be something super small. So that was actually a good card pull for not getting a baby. So when you're breeding with horses that have like no hearts, just don't do it. Just don't even breed with them. It's a waste of money, a waste of time. I just basically gave that person a free 10k. Good on them. But you always want to try and get horses that have 3 hearts and above. You at least want 3 full hearts or more. And then you're gambling at that point if you're breeding with horses under 3 hearts, because you probably won't even get a baby. So if I'm looking for something that's genetically better for my horse, you also want to keep hair color into play, because hair color does move on with genetics, and I've noticed that a lot. Like, if you have a whole gene line of short-haired horses compared to long-haired horses, you're probably always going to get short-haired horses just because of the lineage, and it's going to be a pain in the butt. That's why I always only breed with long hair. As you guys were hearing me in the last video, I said I only breed with long hair, or long and curly, and then long and thick and long and curly. Because if I keep my gene lines all similar, it's going to give me better odds for the babies, because hair does not grow in this game. Sadly, it's not that realistic in this one. Like Rancher Rivershine, they did not add that mechanic in this. You either get what you get, or you gotta breed again. So that's why I always breed with horses that have long hair to keep the lineages the same, because that's how I ended up with this horse here. All of my horses have a lineage of long hair, but the other father horse that I was using had a lineage of probably usually short hair and thin hair, and that's how I ended up with this baby with short hair, because the lineage had that in it, you know what I mean? Even though I'm looking for horses with long hair, their lineage could have had it in it. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you guys like short hair or long hair, try and breed with those lineages. Now, sadly, I don't think... It won't tell you from here. Sadly, it only tells you the coat. So you just could get unlucky like I did and just happen to get short hair out of the breeding. Just don't try and breed with it yourself to get horses you want. Just try and keep breeding to get a long-haired one, and then go from there and breed with it so that you have a higher chance of long hair. Happened with this one too. It's short hair. But I'm working on a project with them right now, so I'm okay with it. Because it has such good speed, I'm like, I'll deal with it and I'll breed with it. But you gotta pick your battles. You gotta pick your battles. And you gotta be rich, basically, because this gets expensive. Because the lowest amount is 10k. So you gotta really grind and definitely play the events. That's why I was saying in the last video, play the events anytime they're out. Because it's actually hard to get money any other time. Because the races do get repetitive and tedious and a little boring. And you're not gonna want to race all the time and get money. So the events make it more fun and way easier to gain money. That's why I'm so rich right now. Just from events, just from opening boxes. I'll get into that in another video. We're almost done with the breeding here, really. I think I've explained almost everything you need to know for like basics of breeding. As you can see here, it even tells you the success of how many babies each one of my horses has had. And this one has successfully had 21 babies. That is a hard-working mom right there. 21 babies! But I have had this horse for so long. I think I've had her for a couple of years, because I've been trying to get her coat with the blonde, which I did recently finally get a horse with the blonde. But as you see, her stats are terrible. It's 56 and 56. Not good. But it's a start, you know, at least I can get some speed going with that, and it's going to be easier, because I think the blonde looks way better than the white. That's just my opinion. So, I'll finally be getting rid of her soon. What else do I need to talk about with breeding? I guess the search bar here, I didn't really dive into this, and that's my bad. Let's get into this search bar. It's called the Breeding Registration Filter. So this is where you can pick up to 3 horse coats to look for at the same time if you want. Like, say you're just trying to get a variety of horse coats, you can do that. I usually try and stick with 1 at a time because it's easier to keep track of everything. Like, if you're clicking on 3 different coats, you're going to have a lot of different horses popping up down here with too many different stats to deal with and too many variables. It just gets complicated, in my opinion, so I'm always doing 1 horse at a time. So like you guys saw, I was breeding chestnut. I only want to look at chestnuts. That's just easier to do, but you can do 3 at a time if you want. You can even make it as hard as picking the skills too. And that's why you got to be careful when you're picking so many specific filters because then you're going to have less horses to breed with, and I'll prime example show you guys. Let's say I only pick speed for the first skill, so that's going to have the highest points in it is speed. And then let's say I've got all the specific hairs picked. I only want these hairs, and then I only want this coat, right? I literally have 3 horses to choose from. That's why I almost never ever pick any skill down here for specification, because you're never going to have horses to breed with. I mean, that is actually a really good horse to breed with. Let's do that. I need to breed with that, actually. Yeah, that's really good. That's a really good horse, actually. This is hard to come by. Even though Palominos are only a 2-star coat, I think, they're really rare. Like, nobody ever has them up for breeding, and it's really hard to find them. I don't know why. And as you see, I still ended up with not the horse I wanted. It's a cute horse. And it's got really good speed. 92 speed is really good. So I'm going to keep that horse and then breed it for money, because I can probably get some good money out of that. Now that is a champagne coat, so the champagne coat is only a 1-star, but it'll still give me good money because champagne coat is still cute. And then, see, buckskin's only a 2-star, and they're so hard to come by. Like, look at this, there's nothing here. And the reason this arrow is all the way down is because it has no hearts. So you don't breed with it, basically. It's a lost cause. Like, don't even try. That's why I'm really glad I found this one. I need to breed again. Dang, I need to get rid of some horses. But I kind of can't. I'm kind of stuck. I think it's finally time to get rid of this girl here, because I finally got her, and she has a potential, and I will get into that later on. But you want to, well, I guess I can talk about it because we want to breed for potential too. So let me finish up with this because we're on this, and then I'll get to that. I hopefully will not forget. There's just so much to talk about. It's insane. Thank you for everyone who's supporting me and stuck through this video this long for the information, because there is really a lot to explain, and I hope you guys appreciate this, because there probably isn't a lot of videos talking about Alicia Online and like the ins and outs of the game and just the basics of everything. So I think this will be good for everybody, honestly. So that's why I almost never pick specific skills. I clear that usually. You can always hit the clear filter up here if you have like 3 horses picked. Just clear it, easy. Then we're going to move on to the next one. So you can pick any kind of different mane you want. They do come with different values as well. So obviously 1-star is more easy to come by. That's probably also why I have short-haired horses right now, because they're just 1-star. They show up more often. You know, they're not as rare. And then the long curlies are a little more rare, and so is the spiky. A lot of people like the spiky. I kind of do too, but not always. And then the tail, same thing. There's only 1 high-star tail though. The rest are all regular, because it's not really like the same thing as the coats when it comes to the stars and the rarity. I mean, you're just gonna run into it if it's in the lineage. That's how I see it. The star doesn't super matter, really. Like I said, just keep the long hair in the lineage if you want it. Keep the spiky hair in the lineage if you want it, and you'll most likely get it. And then always breed with horses that have spiky hair, and that'll help, you know, things like that. And then I think that's really it. That's all you gotta know about this little box here for filters. You really just gotta know your coat, do one at a time. Try not to really do the skill thing unless you really want to make it easier on yourself and only look for speed horses. You just might have less options. Depends on the coat, again, that you're going for. There's probably a million black speed horses. Yep, there's a million to choose from. They're just so abundant because they're so popular. I think maybe the Palomino just isn't as popular if people aren't mass breeding it, especially for speed Palomino, and that's why it's not really a thing. I don't know. Just not what people are into right now. So yep, let's get into this here, the potential. So it says lineage improves the chance of max potential. It can be obtained through breeding. So basically, potential is a really rare quality your horse can acquire. And if we go into the breeding again, some people will even have it in their name. But that's honestly a waste of a name changer, because you won't know if it has a potential until you get out of the breeding and you already pick a name for it. So you have to have a lot of name tags saved up to change the name to the potential so that everybody will know. Let's see. I'm sure there's a lot of black horses that have potential. See right here, it says pot. Pot 100, 100. So that means it's got a potential. We can't necessarily see which one. It won't tell us that. But it tells us that it has a potential, which is good. You basically just want any potential you can possibly get on your horse. And the 100, 100, I think just means it has the max base speed it can have. as a baby? Not max speed, sorry. Max possible stats as a baby. So when you get a baby, you know how I was talking about the max stat is like 178. The max stat points is 178. So this horse has the like 100 out of 100, the max stat points you can get in a horse. I'm pretty sure that's what the 100 means, and that's why its speed is probably so high, because it's probably a max speed stat. As you can see, the other ones are all at 21, 21, 21, 21 for the male. So I'm pretty sure if all those were 20 and then the rest were put into speed, it would be like 99. Because we did see that 99 horse, 99 speed, and that's really good. Like, that's what you want to strive for in a horse, is to get the highest possible speed stat or magic stat. Like I said, if you want to make magic horses, get the highest control you want, but I go for speed. And I'll talk about that stuff in another video as well, like just explaining all the abilities and everything. Or stats, I should say. So anyways, you want to look for horses with potential. Like, when you get to a point in the game where I'm at, where you already have like a lot of really good horses, and they've got good grades and good stats, and they, you know, look the way you want them to look, then you can start breeding for potentials, really. Like, a lot of my horses now do have potentials. Thankfully, this one is overprotective, so the duration of my shield is increased. That is a great potential, and you can level it up over time to even make the potential stronger. What's another one that had potential? We got Bulldoze here, and I'm really glad this one has Bulldoze, because now I can breed other Dapple horses and get the look that I want, and hopefully get the potential as well. So it's less affected by collision. This one's Eagle Eye, so the aiming range is increased. I also talked about this stuff in my last video. So potential is super important, because that means you'll have a one-up on everybody else in the races. You will just automatically have a better horse. That's why the potential is so big, and the 100-100 max stat thing is huge, because you want the fastest, best horse possible out of everybody else. Because speed is important. Speed's really important. I don't really know what the whole DM, I guess DM literally just means DM them maybe about it. I don't know. RD, don't really know. Maybe RD is the specific potential, because there are names for the potentials, as we just saw. I think that might be what RD is. That might be the potential. So DM might be the nickname for the potential. Because if we're looking here, this one's called Overprotective, so I'd probably put OP or something. But I would still put POT in the name for potential, because I don't really know what that stuff means half the time. I mean, maybe. But I'm going to say that's generally what that means. Game lingo, could be. So I think that's really the last thing I have to talk about when it comes to breeding a horse. You really just want to gain potentials over time as you breed. They are rare, they are hard to get. And as you see here, it does say the lineage improves that, so you want to keep your lineage at like the max possible. So +9 is your best bet there. I can't remember. Let's see. The more luck, the lower the risk of an injury. Oh yeah, luck's important for racing, but you gain that back over time too. You can't really just get that back. I don't think you have to like let your horse rest or something. There's something like that. And I think that is it. I'm trying to see if I missed anything. If you guys don't want a horse anymore, you can hit free this horse and get rid of it from breeding, because you won't have a lot of slots. So you're probably just going to keep getting rid of your babies. I'm not sure if you can get babies back. We're going to go look. I know you can get regular horses back. Where was it that services? So you want to click on services down here. And it's called Horse Return Services. I wonder if it'll load for me. A couple of things in this game are not loading recently, from what I've noticed. Like my information board isn't loading. Okay, horse services also isn't loading. I wonder why. Let's try one more time. Let's exit the shop. Shop, services. Okay, well, I can still explain it to you. I don't know if you can get babies back. I can't remember. But I know you can get horses back that you've previously released, which has actually helped me a lot in the past with getting certain coats that I've wanted. I would go back and see if I had a previous horse that already had the coat from when I was gaming and got rid of it because it might have had a lower grade or maybe didn't have good stats, but it had the coat that I wanted. I would go get that horse. I think you do have to pay to get it back, which is fine. They don't make you pay too much to get the horse back, depending on how good the horse was, I think. I can't remember everything, but I think it depends on how good the horse was. That'll depend on how high the price is for getting it back. And then once you get the horse back, it'll show up, you have to have an open spot, of course, but it'll show right up here, and then you can actually just breed with that. So getting a horse back has actually helped me out a lot with getting certain coats that I wanted. I just don't know if you can get babies back. I wish it would load for me, but the information still won't load up here either. I can't get any of this to load. It'll usually tell you about the game and different things. But I, again, think that is the last thing I have to talk about breeding. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below. I will try my best to answer them. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've played this, but I think I got all the gists down, got all the parts down. Breeding isn't too complicated once you get the hang of it. At first, it was definitely complicated for me with all the hearts and the arrows and the lineage. Everything was just complicated because I didn't understand it at first, and the game doesn't really explain it to you. So here's this video for you guys. I hope it helped you out with the breeding mechanics of the game, and
It's done.
just the, you know, everything you need to know about it. Not even the basics at this point. It's just a whole guideline of breeding. And I will see you guys in the next video that I make for this, and we'll probably deep dive into stats next time and like more of the horse racing. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye.